in today's video, we are going to be continuing with the Starkling challenge variable this time around. So variables in Cairo. Now this, the first session says, make me compile. Now I made mention from the last video that the main function is the entry point to any Cairo program. Now we have a main function here, which has some logic inside. The logic says x equals 5, print x is, and then the value of 5. But you can see, if you are a programmer coming from every other programming background, you should know that before you declare a variable, there should be a keyword to it, right? So a keyword is missing, right? It could be let, it could be const, it could be whatever keyword. But right here, we need to have the keyword let. So the let keyword makes this logic reasonable. It makes sense, because if we compile this program now, it's not going to compile. Let's try it. So this didn't compile because it didn't recognize this wasn't declared. It was just assigned a value. The variable was just assigned, but it wasn't declared. The compiler cannot see the declaration. So now let's put the keyword and let's compile. Now the code was compiled. Let's move to the next. Make me compile. We have the main function let s. No, it wasn't assigned any value. Now you have if x equals to 10, print x is 10, else print x is not 10. Now, for this logic to actually work, it means that we need to actually assign a value to x. Right now, no value is assigned to n, it is assigned to x. And coming from Solidity, for example, right, if you compile the program, it would run because normally the default of x is going to be 0, but it doesn't work like that. Yeah, you have to like assign your variable its value, right? Now let's try to compile the program first. So it didn't compile. Now let's assign any value to it. Let's assign it 6, because the code says if x is 10, right, if x equals 10, right now x is not 10, x is 6. That means it's going to print x is not 10. So let's compile, and voila, we have it. Let's move to the next. Make me compile. We have let x, and then the data type field 252, print x and the value. Just like the previous solution, right, there was no value that was assigned to the variable. And one thing you need to know about variables in Cairo is that the default, if you do not specify the type of a variable, right, or an argument, it type default to a field element. It default to field 252. So though I'm going to explain it in more detail in primitive types and the subsequent sessions, the subsequent solutions that we're going to have, right? But you should know that the variable type in Cairo default to a field element, field 252. So you might have noticed from the previous solutions, there was no typed specifically, explicitly stated, right? That means it default to field 252. So, but this one was like explicitly defined, right? So this is it takes the variable takes fail 252 data type. Now we need to, for this to pass, we need to assign a value to it to actually like be able to print the value of x, because right now x isn't any value, it's not holding any value into it. So now let's just put x is equals to, okay, let's try 0, and great. So you can try with any other number and it's just going to compile fine. Let's move to the next solution. Make me compile. Let x equals 3, right? The data type wasn't defined here. Print x equals x is 3, right here is going to print x is 3, because coming from here, it's taking the value 3, x is taking the value 3, x equals 5. It says don't change this line. Now print x is now 5. Should we try to compare and see if it's going to compile? Let's try it out. The compilation failed. There's an error. So what is the error here? The variable x was assigned 3, the value of 3 initially, and now it is assigned the value 5. One thing you need to know about Cairo, right, is that um, Cairo's memory model, right, is immutable by default. Once you have written to a memory cell, you cannot change the value. It cannot be overwritten unless you just want to read from the memory, right? But then the Cairo language gives you an option for you to be able to mutate the your value, right? The value that you've already declared using the mute keyword. So there's an introduction. What you want to like change, like the value you need to change, you need to like put the mute keyword in front of your variable name, right? So assigning to a mutable variable in Cairo is just equivalent to like redeclaring it, right? Just like this, the x variable initially, right, was 3, and then now you want to make it 5. So it's like equivalent to actually redeclaring the variable, right, to refer to another value in another memory cell. But the compiler, the equivalence of this, the compiler does it for you. You don't need to like care about it. What you just need to do is to like put that mute keyword for the compiler to know that okay, you actually want to mutate this value. So just under the wood, it's represent like variable shadowing, right? It's just something that you should like know. So now let's put the mute keyword in front of the variable and see. This compiles just fine. Let's move to the next. Make me compile. So we have number equals 1 with data type uint8. So we have different data types. We have the scalar types and we have the compound types. For scalar types, um, we have felt 252, which I made mention of, that is the default value of every variable in Cairo, right? If you don't specify the data type of your variable, right, it defaults to the felt 252 data type. We have integer, we have unsigned integer from U8 to U56. No, U256. So you have U8, we have U16, U32, U64, U128, U256, and we also have U size. U size is equivalent, is like the same with U32. They have the same bit size. So if for U8, right, For U8, the variable that you want to store in using the U8 data type has to can contain the value. um, so we're going to do 2 raised to the power of um, 2 raised to the power of 2 of 8 of 8, 2 raised to the power of 8 minus 1. So 2 raised to the power of 8 is 256 and then minus 1. So the number that your um variable number can contain using the U8 data type, right, is 252. And one thing you also need to know about the unsigned integer is unsigned, so it cannot contain negative value, right? Okay, so let's come back to this solution. So we have, it says don't change this line, don't change this line. Print number is this, number is 1, so it prints number is 1, it's going to print number is 1 here. Number is 3, don't rename this variable. So what do we need to do? What do we need to do? Number is 1. What do we need to do? So let's try. Let's try. This takes the data type of U8, and I told you, I made mention, if you recall, that Cairo is a statically typed language. You need to like state the data type that you're working with for your variable, right? Now, this has the U8 data type, why this doesn't. Let's try it if it's going to work. U8, right? Let's see. Let's see. I know some things might be going through your mind already. It doesn't compile. Why doesn't it compile? Oh, do we have to add the mute keyword to make it compile? Let's try it. It says don't change this line. It already said don't change this line. And don't rename this variable. So what do we need to do? We're not going to rename. What we're just going to do is put let's try it. We are looking for solutions. Let's try it. Yes, this works. Why? Because this is what we call variable shadowing in Cairo. So variable shadowing like basically refers to the declaration of a new variable, right? Of a new variable with the same name as the previous variable. So we already declared the variable number initially, but now we want to overshadow the previous declaration, right? So this is just variable shadowing in Cairo and it works just fine. Next. So variable next. So make me compile. We have constant. One thing you need to know about constant in Cairo is that constant in Cairo is like every other language is constant. It is always constant. You cannot change the value of a constant. You are not allowed to use the mute keyword with constant to change its value. It is always constant. And just like you can see, the it was hard coded, it was used all in capital letters, and this is just how you declare your variable that has to like be a constant variable, right? It has to be all in caps, and you can separate it using underscore. Yes, and another thing is your constant variables have to be in global scope so that the rest of your code can be aware of the constant when you want to like get to use it in the part of your code later. And yes, you also have to like declare the data type. This one you should um, this is 3, number is 3, and then we have small number is 3 with the U8 bit size. Now it says don't change the value of this constant. Don't change the value of this constant. Now in the main function it says print number is this, number is supposed to be printed 3 and small number is supposed to be printed 3 as well. So what is the issue here? What do you think is the issue here? You can just see this as a data type explicitly defined, but this doesn't. Now let's try it if um, it will work. So we can use U16 with this and let's see if it compiles. In two, it doesn't compile. It doesn't compile. Why doesn't it compile? Let's it says something went wrong with your code. Unexpected token, this followed by a type. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do this. So we are going to do this. Let's U16, right? And see. It still didn't compile. So what is the issue right here? But it says don't change the value of this constant. Don't change the value of this constant. So okay, so let's do this. Let's do this. U8. Let's do this. We are just trying out. This is solution, so let's try it out. Let's try it out and see what it gives us. It says the submitted code compiles, but you are not following the exercise rules. Provided code, okay, okay. So let's return back to this, and then please read the exercise description. Okay, so does it want us to use U8? Let's try. Compile. Why is it taking so much time? Okay, it failed. Small number. Where is the error coming from? Something went wrong with your code, failed to compile. One small number is the issue right here. Small number is the issue. Okay, let's do this. I think that was the first thing that we did. All right. That was the first thing we did, and have we still have this. Okay, so let's try to fix this up. Let's try to fix this up. Fixing this, this doesn't work right. Now let's try to use, we need to like specify its data type. So felt 252. Yes, felt 252. Does that work? Let's compile the code if that does work. Let's see what we have right there. Why is it taking so long? Okay, so the error now we have is with small number. So let's add its own data type as well. This is a constant, and see if this does compile. Can this just disappear? I don't like saying this, beware. Let's see if that does compile. In three, two, one, go. Yes. And we have our code successfully compiled. Thank you for watching. In the next video, we're going to continue with primitive types. Bye.